Welcome to the Juggernaut. Here's Chris Harris.
Welcome, everybody, to a movie podcast. I am here, and he has not been on a podcast unless, he's been maybe on somebody else's show, but not mine, for like 6 weeks or longer. And he's here right now to do our annual tradition of me begging us to do a movie podcast in January and him saying maybe until it's February. And then eventually, finally, the Super Bowl goes away and I convince him to do it. It's Cousin Josh. Hello.
Chris, it's a pleasure. There's a lot to unpack there. First, I will tell you, I'm very faithful. I don't cheat on you with other podcast hosts. You know that's not my style. If it was, I would text you and say, Chris, I have a confession to make. I want to come clean.
We have to talk.
Yeah, we need to talk. But this is probably the fourth or fifth year we've done this. Actually, maybe even longer than that, because I remember when we were talking
fifth.
This is probably like eighth or ninth, because I was saying Mad Max. I remember doing that, where you're like, man of the people.
Yeah, you are man of the people, buddy. 2015 is the first time we did this.
Wow.
2015.
I was gonna say it's like 2019 or 2018, but wow, you're right. Maybe it was.
So basically, this is the 10-year anniversary because it was for the 2015 movies. We recorded it in 2016. Yeah. So this is the 11th time we're doing it, but it's the 10th year anniversary of the first time we ever did it. Would you like to hazard? Well, actually, I don't have a record of what your number one. I could go back. I should have gone back and looked. My number one from that year was Clouds of Sils Maria, establishing myself as the snobby one on our.
My friends still talk about that, by the way. I said I got the movie podcast. They go, is Chris going to pull out another Clouds of Sils Maria? And I'm like, I don't know, guys.
Can I mention that movie is amazing? I've watched it since. It's
with what's her name
great.
From
Kristen Stewart.
Yeah,
it's Olivier Assayas, and I just watched Carlos, the 6-hour movie that Assayas did about Carlos the Jackal. That was pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good.
2018 was that the year with Burning and 8th Grade in that year?
2018, your number one was Burning. Your number two was 8th Grade. I have that record. My number one that year was First Reformed.
I'm looking at my list now. Yeah.
Yeah, First Reformed is a hard rewatch. When you know what's coming, that's a hard rewatch. I've watched it twice, but the second time I was kind of watching it between my fingers a little bit. You know what? We can do this all day, but we should actually talk about 2025 movies here in February of 2026. And we're so happy to have you all along. I will put our top 1 through 10s in the show notes. If you're listening on the regular Harris Football feed or the Yacht Club feed or the Juggernaut feed, I'll get it all in there for you. Josh, we have an addition, though. This year we have an addition because there is a Yacht Club now. So for Yacht Club members, once this one is done, in a couple of weeks, we're also going to put out another movie podcast that's going to be our 11 through 20 movies of 2025. I was talking with you and we were like, should we do worst movies we saw? And then we kind of realized that we sort of intentionally stay away from what we expect to be bad movies. So it would be boring.
Yeah, look, we see a bunch. You see more than me because I feel like we get to the end of the year and then you go into just overdrive where I'm like, you're like, did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see this? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I mean, I also watch a lot of obnoxious television where I'm doing like, oh man, I'm watching Love is Blind, but I'll sneak this in. Or I'm watching Love Island UK All Stars. And you're just like, oh, I watched another movie. Did you see this? And I'm like, dude, I can't get to all of these. But we see a large
44. Amount. I did 44. Not a film critics number of films for sure. They have to see 100, 150 or something. But I did 44.
I'm at 28, I think, or 29 with
So we will do, for those of you who are subscribers to the Yacht Club, $5 a month. Go to harrisfootball.com if you'd like to be a member. We are making Yacht Club shows, Andy Behrens and I, all throughout the off season, so there's no break. The football show is on current hiatus. It'll be back in a couple of weeks to talk about NFL free agency. But Andy and I are doing shows every single week, and so they're fun, and some of them are about football, and the one next week is going to be about chess, and a crazy story about chess. So yeah, we would love to have you as a subscriber. Go to harrisfootball.com. So we're going to count down our top 10 films of 2025, and as has become our tradition, because we know our lists are going to overlap a fair amount. They always do. We can't help it as we're going through the year. Like you said, I'll text you and say, did you see this? And so, I don't think we're going to have too many, like, I hate that movies. Sometimes it happens. But because we're counting down, oh, yeah, you're going to have one that I'm going to hate. Yes, that is correct. But since we're counting down, we're starting at 10, we're going down to 1. As people can imagine, the person who likes the film more would be talking about that film later. And we don't know each other's lists beforehand. So as we say them, if the other person says, yes, it's coming on my list, then it's incumbent on the person who has it, who's going to talk about sooner, who has it rated lower, to like not talk that much about it, because we're going to get to it with a further conversation as we go. So we don't know each other's lists. Maybe it would be smarter to. I like the surprise value. There's also, there's an elephant in the room, which is that a lot of people know that I wrote a pretty long review of One Battle After Another, and I liked it but didn't love it. And so that's definitely going to be higher on Josh's list. And so we'll talk about that when we get to it. And so, yeah, I think, there's always this question of, was it a good year for movies? But, maybe we'll save that for the end.
Yeah.
We'll get to the end and talk our way through it. So let's just start it out with your number 10. What you got? And I'll tell you whether I have it higher.
I don't think you have it, and I don't do it purposely, but I'd say I usually have a documentary on it. And I was thinking about what really I enjoyed as a documentary, and I went with The Perfect Neighbor, which I'm not sure if you saw. It's a documentary. Yeah. It's a documentary about an incident that took place in 2023 in Florida, and it's about a white woman and her black neighbors in Florida, and it kind of tells the story, I guess, of, I don't want to give too much away, but the escalating kind of conflicts between she and her neighbors, and it's told all through like body cam footage from like the police and authorities. Look, I don't think the story is going to be so shocking. I think, sadly, we've kind of become numb to all the gun violence in America and racial issues and biases. But I really think when you actually see the raw footage of all this, I found it to be really affecting, especially for someone who's sadly kind of come numb to a lot of this when you see it on the news over and over and over. But when you watch this play out in real time through archival footage, I definitely left this movie like affected. I remember watching it with Jord being like, whoa. And I think the last 15 or 20 minutes to kind of the aftermath was just, I don't know, left a lasting impact on me. It was my favorite documentary of the year. I think it's got a little bit of something for everyone. It's available on Netflix. I know they're not sponsoring the show, but I'll give the shout out there. But look, you also know I watch a ton of true crime. I watch a ton of documentaries, and this to me was my favorite documentary. I will say there's another one when we do our 11 to 20 that's probably going to be in there, but yeah, this was my number 10, Perfect Neighbor. Really good documentary, and I think it's got a little bit of something for everyone, especially for the people in America. I'd recommend it.
All right. I did not even see that movie, so you already stumped me. I didn't know about it. I didn't even come up on my list, so I do need to watch it, therefore. My number 10, I know that you caught up with this film within the last week. You did a lot of cramming for this podcast, which I admire because you have a full-time job that takes a lot of your time, and this time of year I'm a fiction writer in the morning and not much in the evening, so I have a lot more time to catch up on movies. So you can tell me whether Nouvelle Vague is higher than number 10 on your list.
It's a little bit higher for me. Not by much,
Okay.
but it's higher. It's coming up later.
So, all right. Well, then we agree that we liked it. I'll just say there's another Linklater that didn't quite make my top 10, but that will be in my 11 through 20. I thought that was a good movie, too. He had two really good movies this year, for sure. It's just fun, Nouvelle Vague. It's not, am I saying it wrong? I think I'm saying it right.
I think that's right.
I'm very paranoid about, because audience makes fun of how I say croissant. They don't like it. They say it's too French. I mean, Nouvelle Vague, like very well made. I don't know if there's a ton of meaning to it. I'm not sure why it even exists. It's a celebration of Breathless and a celebration of Jean-Luc Godard. Here's my description of it. It's like a Marvel movie if the superhero was a snobby French film director who plays by his own rules. Like it, in some ways, the Godard character should kind of be annoying because he's always right and his methods are always correct, and he's always giving someone a sly grin and, oh, trust me, it's going to work out fine. And of course it does, because Linklater loves this movie and loves Godard. But it's really good. It's a good time. So I'll stop talking about it because it's a good time. And we'll wait till we get to it on your list. So what's your number 9?
So this is the one I think that you did not like. I remember we had the text back and forth. So I'm going with Cloud. Is that what you knew it was going to be? Yeah.
I mean, the one that I knew that I was not going to like. Yes, I did. Yeah. I liked that movie for 2/3 of its runtime. Yeah.
So it's a Kiyoshi Kurosawa movie, which I don't know how many people have seen any of his others, like Cure. I had watched this because I had heard good things about it. I was on a plane ride for about an hour and 45 or 2 hours, whatever it specifically was, to Cleveland for work, and it happened to be on a streaming service through Criterion. Hats off to Criterion. And I'm like, all right, I'll check this out. And I'm trying to say the easiest way to kind of give the synopsis of this film, and you tell me if I'm missing anything, is it's about a internet reseller who basically, I guess, quits his job and, I don't know, buys cheap and sells for profit. And, pretty soon, I guess the people he's kind of taken advantage of start their own online forum and, I guess, try to find out who he is and seek him out. And I'd say that's kind of without me giving too much away. I will say this, and you will probably agree. I think the first half of this film, and you hit the nose on the head when you texted me a few months ago, and you're just like, this is Hitchcock to me, Josh. The first 45 to 60 minutes, you had me. It's great. It plays of, there's this stalking vibe. We're not exactly sure what's going on. He's profiting. He moves into kind of a secluded area with his girlfriend. He hires an assistant, and this I don't know, like online militia almost starts to kind of build this following of who is this guy. And I know. So
that's why I started laughing. Sorry.
Yes. And look, I think there's a ton of elements. We live in a world now where everyone kind of hides behind technology, right? Very similar to this guy, whether it's on X or Twitter or eBay. And we've all kind of had these things where you come across things on social media and everyone's got computer muscles, Chris. I think what you don't love as much in probably the last 35 to 40 minutes is it kind of turns into Reservoir Dogs on steroids. And that's probably a nice way.
It turns into The Purge. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, dude, and I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't mind when things go completely haywire. And it's like, dude, it gets unrealistic. And I'm like, yes, I get it to a degree. The last 25 or 30 minutes borderlines absurdity, I think, in some of it. Maybe it's unrealistic in the length that these people go to track him down. I don't know. Is there anything else? You have a problem, and maybe this will probably a little bit of one battle after another when we get to it. I think suspending, is it belief or disbelief?
Disbelief
Is the phrase? Yeah. Disbelief. You have a difficult time with that, I think, sometimes where you go, this is not realistic. I'm done. This would never happen. And I think that's sometimes where you will probably just go, that's not for me. I get why you like it. I'm not going to do this, where things just take a wrong turn and things get so absurd. And I really enjoyed this. I don't know. I think it's got some good commentary too on like online morals. Now you're going to probably think I'm stretching it here.
It absolutely does.
And the extent of people and how we punish them. And
it absolutely does. Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. I think 2/3 of this movie is fantastic. I mean, you and I both are going to have a movie a lot higher on our list that you want to talk about absurdity and, like suspending disbelief and total, like the thing going off the rails. So I don't think that's necessarily something I'm always against. I think the problem I had with Cloud, but I think people should see it because they might not feel the same imbalance that I felt. The control and the mise en scene when they moved to the big house out in the country, and the camera work and the color palette, and like it is a big boy movie. That is a grown up, like he's a masterful type director where you notice all these things, and it's a really cold performance. The Cloud, the main guy is it's a very cold performance, but that's supposed to be like it works really, really well. It's great suspense, and something bad is coming and you don't know what it is, and it takes a really good filmmaker to get you to that point. Where it lost me, but that doesn't mean
warehouse and on for you. Once you get to the warehouse, you're like,
yeah, but like I think the movie was teaching me I think all movies teach us how to watch them.
Yeah.
What are the rules of this world that I'm in? And I had a hard time leaving the rules of the first 2/3 of the movie. So this very realistic world that like it is our world. It's Japan, but it's our world, you know. And then suddenly it's little Looney Tunes. And that is absolutely, you're right, going to be a criticism I have of One Battle After Another. Like, what's your tone here, buddy? You know, I can't tell what you want me to think of. Is this supposed to be realistic because the rest of the movie was realistic? So that was, it lost me, and it gets hyper violent. Like I'm not really in. You're much more into hyper.
Well, you asked me too. You're like, how violent? I'm like, I think this is probably borderline what you can tolerate. I think, but I don't think this is too out of control.
It's not disgustingly gross or anything. It's not. But I think it's good to have had the conversation. I'm not mad at the pick at all. Like it would be one thing if it was just kind of blah, and then all of a sudden like it turned into something that it wasn't. But it's a great movie. I don't think anybody can watch the first 2/3 and not feel suspense. So
really quickly, did you have Substance on your list last year or no?
I
think it was like my 10.
I think I was too no, I think I saw it. I think I wasn't. I was too chicken until the end. Yeah.
It's a completely different style movie, but it's the same thing where I watch it and I'm like, that I think is a whole nother level of that last 20 to 25 minutes where you get into like another level of body horror. And I don't think this gets there, but it gets to a point where it goes a completely different direction from that suspense Hitchcock style thriller. But like you said, it's gorgeous. The tone is amazing for the first 45 to 60.
Yeah. So. And it's, I mean, I guess, you know, it's really dumb for like me, this, you know, bourgeois LA, you know, sitting in a middle-aged dude to be like, you know, that's not really what you should have done with your movie. If it were me, I would have done this. Like he made the movie he wanted to make, you know. So I'm not gonna. It's good. I'm glad we had the conversation. My number 9 didn't make your 10, I don't believe, but it's Wake Up Dead Man. I don't think you hated it. I don't think you hated it. Yeah. You know, so I went back. I had Glass Onion number 10 in 2022. That was the year you had Top Gun Maverick, number 1 overall.
So good.
And then I had Knives Out, the original, number 4 in 2019. So, you know, it's pretty obvious I like these Rian Johnson movies. Knives Out is the best of these because it was new. And, like, we didn't know exactly you know, okay. By the end, you're like, okay, it's an Agatha Christie type, you know. And so... like I think if you're bored of it a little bit, if the people are a little bored of it, I'm not mad at that. I don't think everything has to be a sequel, and you know, largely I think sequels kind of suck. I don't feel like my life needs, you know, infinite Knives Out movies, to be honest. But for me, this one was a little different. There definitely are twists and turns in the mystery that were enjoyable. I think the overall solution probably isn't going to stun too many people. I think what this script, so I think a lot of movies, you're going to agree with this statement. Let me ask you, do you think a lot of movies are trying really hard to talk about this moment in American life right now?
Do I think they're trying too hard? Is that what you said? Or
no, just that they're trying to do it at all. Like it seems like there's so many movies that are trying to capture the craziness that we're in the middle of right now.
100%.
The coarsening of society, what the conservative thing has done to America. I think a lot of them don't do it very well. I think, my number 8, which you've got a lot higher, One Battle for Another, is, I think, has a problem with it. And honestly, like, even the overt, like the part in Wake Up Dead Men where the kid has the conservative podcast, I was like, I didn't think that was great. Did you think that was great?
No, I didn't think that was great.
Yeah. And what's his name? Andrew Scott is like the science fiction writer who's turned into a bitter libertarian or whatever. I find those characters a little cartoonish, but the thing that made this movie more interesting to me is the notion of faith. Because Josh O'Connor plays a priest. And so, like, in the world, it feels to me like the entire idea of having faith gets lumped in as like a right-wing value right now, because those people are the loudest about it and, probably tend to actually walk the line and behave least like people of faith. So there's that scene. I know you're going to know this scene in the movie, and if people haven't seen it yet, I don't think I'm really spoiling because it's not like a key to the mystery. But where Josh O'Connor, it's like wacky right in the middle of the mystery, and he's on the phone and he's getting a piece of information that he needs from a lady at like a shipping company. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do.
Louise. And then she asks him, she like takes a moment and says, "Will you pray for me? Will you pray for my sick mom?" Because her mom has a brain tumor and she's in hospice, and the tumor is making her say horrible things. So the daughter said terrible things back, and she's afraid those are going to be the last things that they say to each other. And in that moment, that movie really snapped into focus to me, like just slows down, and the Josh O'Connor character from that point forward like doesn't want to play anymore. And it's really emotional. It's really emotional in this madcap fun movie. I think it gets to something that Ryan Johnson's trying to say. Like, it's maybe not even about faith, about, like a belief system or whatever, just about kindness, which is, I think that's actually what's lacking in this moment, especially from the conservative side that can't, that gets lampooned a little in this movie. I think that lens, and knowing that like at some point Josh O'Connor just was trying to be kind and not like have a fun adventure, that character, made me enjoy that movie a lot.
One thing I will say about these types of movies that I enjoy, and I did enjoy this. I like all of the Knives Out films. First of all, the ensemble cast, I think, is a lost thing. We don't do it as much anymore. It's fun to watch all these actors play their small parts, whether it's Daniel Craig or Glenn Close or Josh O'Connor, who's just, this guy, I think he's one of the best actors, period, around right now. I'm curious if you have one of the other films, but maybe it'll be a different week. Okay, so
No.
we'll probably talk about that. So
Yeah.
I won't spoil anything, but I know where you're going with that. I did see it. I miss the Ocean's 11. Like, I miss those types of films, even if you don't think that they're high art.
Right.
I think there's just I'm happy, Chris, that you have I would put a quote unquote popcorn film, so to speak, on your list. I feel like you don't always do this, and look, it's fun. Jordan and I watched it. We're like, that was good. I'm glad. I think these types of films have a place, and I also love a good mystery, dude. So you don't have to sell me on it. It missed my list. It's probably not too far from it, but I enjoyed it.
I had Conclave last year.
You're right. That's fair.
I had Challengers last year. Get off my back.
And I didn't.
No, you're much more the popcorn guy. I do think as a popcorn movie it works just fine, and it's satisfying and fun. And I do think like the overall who did it, look,
Yeah.
at some point there's a limited number of people in a movie, and who's got the higher billing, so you figure that person might have but there are things that happen along the way that were surprising. And then I do think the question of faith is very interesting in that movie. And so let's do your number 8.
Yeah, mine is again, I don't know if it's again Nouvelle Vague, however we want to pronounce it, but yeah, I had it here. You had recommended this a couple of months ago, and I was like, I got to make sure it gets onto my list. It's interesting because I had it turned on when Jord passed out a couple of maybe a week or so ago, and she wakes up in the middle of the night and she sees me kind of giggling. She's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think you're gonna like it." And she's like, "Well, you seem to be having like a good time with it," and. And I thought about it, and I'm like, I think this is the movie. Like you said it best a little bit ago, which is like, I'm not sure exactly why it exists, and it's kind of like a love song to like French New Wave, and like you said, Breathless and Jean-Luc Godard. And I think the reason why I like it is it's the movie for like nerds and geeks who like to like geek out on film. And I
Hmm.
said to Jord, I think you would like this if I showed you Breathless first, which I've always thought about showing her, which I really do think she would like, right? Because what's really great about this film, if you're into movies, is that you get to see all of these characters who, again, if you're a geeky loser nerd like me, it's like, wow, Claude Chabrol, Jean-Pierre Melville. It's like a lot of these French directors make a lot of movies that I've seen and I've loved from the 60s. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. He did like Le Cercle Rouge and like a lot of these other films. And you get to hang out with these people. And it's shot just like all these French New Wave, films. And it's like, it literally looks like a behind the scenes making of documentary of Breathless and Jean-Luc Godard. And yeah, there's some elements where it's like, wow, this guy's kind of smug. Yeah. But like it really it transports you, like you said, into like that era. And it there's nothing else like it. And I'm not trying to say this is a landmark movie, but if you are a film geek snob loser like me and you, and kind of this 1960s and a lot of these people, and Gene Sebring and all these people, you're like, this is really kind of cool. And like what he kind of went through to get this film made and the production behind it and the producers. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'd love to read more about this and what Richard Linklater did to kind of research this stuff, because I'm sure it's exactly a lot of how this went down. But
Hmm.
yeah, again, if you are a geeky nerd loser dweeb into films, like this is the one for you. Again, you're not going to get anything that's incredibly thought provoking about it, but it's like it's a great hangout film, in French subtitles, new wave style, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It's fun. It's pretty empty. But like I think anybody who knows these movies would have a good time watching it, and that's really all you need to like. I think if you're looking for deep meaning, you're probably
Yeah.
going to be missing the point. There isn't a ton
They
of deep meaning, probably. Go ahead.
really quickly, they cast all of these people really, really well. Like if you know what like Jean-Paul Belmondo looks like and some of these other people, it's like you Google them and like they got the hair right, and the actors really look pretty close to what the actors and actresses look like from that time. Again, it's pretty. I like hanging around Paris too. Like it's just fun, Chris. It's a fun movie. I'm giggling like a loser. I don't know.
There's a lot of self-loathing in that answer, but
It
I'll take
is.
it. Number 8 is the eighth best movie of the year, also
Yeah.
known as One Battle After Another. And that's all. The last time we're going to mention it on the show. Congratulations, Paul
Yeah,
Thomas
sure.
Anderson. From I know this is very very high on
We could
Josh's
just talk
list.
about it later. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. I just want to say, having it at 8,
Yeah.
I like it. So when we talk about it later, and I'm somewhat critical of some things about it, I don't want the conversation to be, Josh, you're dumb for thinking this is the best movie of the year, because you're not. It's going to win Best Picture. I don't care how many years in a row do I need to say I don't care about the Oscars. But anything
Yeah.
that keeps PTA, Paul Thomas Anderson, making movies that
We're
get
all
seen
for
by
it.
a lot of people is a good thing. And so there's tons that's good in that movie. There's tons that's good. We're going to agree probably more than we disagree, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So what's your number 7?
I have a hunch you're going to have this higher, but I have no other choice here. Park Chan-wook's film, is it higher for you? It definitely is, right?
It is.
Yeah. So I won't talk too much about it. I mean, do I even want to get into it? I feel like we're going to have a larger discussion about this film later on. I'll just say a little bit about Park Chan-wook. I'm usually a huge fan of his. Again, I put it as my number 7 of the year, so I do like it. I don't think a ton of people got an opportunity to see it. He did Handmaiden, which I had, I think, maybe like 4 that year. He did Decision to Leave, which I loved, which I know you liked. I liked it a
That
lot
was
more that year.
no. I mean, you had
Yeah.
it 2. I had it 4.
Yeah, so like this I would say is way funnier
It's
than
really
than
funny.
this. It is a really funny film. Those others I think are way more serious. I mean, do we kind of even get into it now? I'll just basically say it's a dark comedy thriller about a guy who's, you know, loses his job, and is looking to get back into the workforce, and the only way to do that basically is to kill off the competition. We will talk a little bit more about it later. Hilarious, the best looking film of the year. I don't think people will argue about that. We'll talk more about it when we get to it for you.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy how good it looks. How the editing, not just the cinematography, but the editing, and it's crazy.
I have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, all right, we'll talk about it when we get to it then. My number 7, it sounds like did not make your top 10. Kelly Reichardt's latest, another Josh O'Connor joint. The Mastermind, but it didn't make your 10, eh?
No, I think it's probably like 12 or 13, and I'll give you my critique on it after you kind of go, but we could talk about it, yeah.
Okay. It's interesting, like, it's natural when you do an exercise like this to try to like summarize what the zeitgeist is, what are people doing out there with their art. And one thing that people seem to be doing is the story of man children. This seems to be something that is popular, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of us is going to have, I don't think you're going to have Marty Supreme on your top 10, right?
It's not on my list, no.
No, me neither. I mean, what would your reaction be if I told you I think this is a significantly better version of Marty Supreme? Do you see where I'm coming from anyway?
I do. I mean, I like it more than Marty Supreme. I would have it higher on a top 20, but
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this anti-hero, like a guy bungling through life,
Mm-hmm.
being really charming, and somehow the movie works so that we root for him, even though we know we shouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's probably I don't want to spoil too much, but the second half of the movie has a lot of what you're talking about, of him kind of bumbling through, and it even touches on a little bit, I feel like, of talented Mr. Ripley in a way towards the second part. Can I give you here's my critique. I love the first half. I love anything where someone is composing a robbery. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting Friends of Eddie Coyle, vibes here. Like, it's giving, and it's a lot of showing. Like, you're watching him as he kind of plans this, as he goes through this. Like, I love that. That's my favorite type of, like, bank robbery, like how we're going to put this together. And I love the first 45, 60 minutes. I think it's amazing. I was watching it with Jordan. I was like, I'm digging this. Like, this is going to be like my 5, my 6. I think the post art heist, for me, I have issues with it. And I don't want to say it becomes messy. I don't like the on the run stuff. And I'll just leave it with that. But I know this is your film, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but
No, it's okay. Glad to hear it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's where it kind of lost me. But go on.
So the genre of movie that I think it belongs to, I think one great thing that comes out of your point, like the beginning of the movie is about the heist, but the heist is not done very well.
Nope.
If you I think at the time it's successful. They get these paintings. We're not really ruining anything by saying that. The Mastermind. But if you think back, I think one thing that the movie does kind of teach you how to watch it, and if you think back on the crime, you realize that was a really stupid plan, and in fact, it just wound up working because somebody pulled a gun, and like in retrospect, the procedural that you're describing, that it's almost like a making fun of the procedural, even though it's not at all sarcastic. Like the filmmaking isn't being sarcastic or anything, but you wind up realizing like this guy's just kind of a mess up in everything that he does, including the robbery, but you don't know it when the robbery is going on. The genre of film that I'm putting it in, maybe it doesn't totally belong in, or maybe it belongs in several genres. It does, because it's a time. I mean, it's very much of its time. It's Vietnam era, early 1970s. It's a heist movie, like you said, but I'm also putting it in with Marty Supreme and Uncut Gems and Lurker from 2025 that you saw that you liked, and Nightcrawler that we both really, really like. It's the man-child thing that I'm responding to. There's a criticism of the man-child. Like, this movie, as charming as Josh O'Connor is, this movie does not say, you should love this guy. By the end, O'Connor's so incredibly charming as an actor, it takes us a while to notice that he's a bad person, and he will use you and he will spit you out. And I don't know, like, the movie does a good job making you think that it likes the main character until you get like 15 minutes to go and you realize the movie hates this guy too. You know, this movie guy, the movie thinks this guy's a bad, not hates him, but like thinks he's a bad guy too. And like I think One Battle After Another has a real bad script problem, a real bad third act problem, a real bad ending problem. And I'm going to mention a couple other films that I liked, but I think had ending problems. And I think The Mastermind has an ending problem. The very end of the movie, I mean, maybe not. It's very abrupt. Maybe in the end, it's what he deserves. But like I would say I agree with you. I don't love everything about it. I don't love the end. But I like a movie that kind of tricks you into thinking it likes its main character, and then you realize no, it very much doesn't. And you're right. That's what the second half of the movie is for.
Yeah, and there's a part where you really hate this character where he kind of, I'll just say he follows the older woman in that alley too. You're like, this guy is kind of a piece of mess.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
it's
rough.
Yeah, again, tough to watch. Root for him, but I'll watch most things that Josh O'Connor does. I think he's one of the best around right now.
Yeah, it's worth seeing, and it's interesting. Like, there are a bunch of movies, and there are some that aren't going to be in my top 10, and maybe not even in my top 20, that if you asked me, did I think overall it was pretty good? I would say yes, and then I would say, but the ending frickin' ruins it. There's a bunch of bad endings to movies this year, and I'm not sure that The Mastermind is terrible the way it ends, but yeah, I think it probably could have been written like better. Could have been better written our way out of the situation. It's like, I mean, you were a big Game of Thrones guy.
Yeah.
But you can't go back and watch that now, right? Even as much as good stuff is in it, you know where it goes, and you're like, I'm never going to watch this stuff again.
I have a tough time with the last season. Not as tough as my friends do because we discuss it here and there. I will say Seven Kingdoms I'm into. I know this is not a Game of Thrones podcast. We could discuss it off the air, so to speak. But they brought me back in on Seven Kingdoms.
Digging it. So endings are going to be a theme for me here in this. So obviously Cloud. I didn't like that ending. How about number 6 on your list?
I know you saw this. I actually saw it twice. Once I watched myself, and it was a work movie club for the second time. I got Steven Soderbergh's Black Bag, man, as 6. Is there any chance it made it? Did you think about it? Was it close?
It is in my 11 through 20. I like it.
Okay. Yeah, and I think this has more substance than Nouvelle Vague, as we say. But like, this is not another one of these where you're just like, you're gonna leave and think about it for, month after month. I mean, it's basically it's with Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett, and he is, an M16 spy in England that's, I don't know, I guess tasked with investigating a group of his coworkers who one of them leaked a secret. It's a mole in the agency. And it's 90 minutes. I will say this, like a lot of these movies, I don't want to say a dumbed down version because it's still, you have to pay attention to everything, but it's got elements of like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which I know you're a fan of as well. I think that's probably a smarter film. Takes place at a different time, but yeah, it's almost plays as a play. It's gorgeous to watch again, and I think maybe that's partly because they dress amazing. Like Kate Blanchett's got this incredible leather outfit on in some of these scenes, but like she's one of the prime suspects that he's investigating, his wife as well. And yeah, it's I'd say half of the movie, Chris, takes place at 2 dinner scenes at their gorgeous apartment as he kind of, tries to suss out who specifically the mole is. And it's literally a film about him interrogating each one of these people. There's a great scene with he and a lie detector test where he's hooking each one of them up. And, Yasmin from Industry, I don't know her name. I forget it offhand. The brunette is amazing in that scene. But yeah, if you're into like films or I should say shows like The Agency or spy movies, it's a fun watch. It's 90 minutes. It's your standard who's the mole. It's got just an amazing cast. It's Pierce Brosnan, Kate Blanchett, Fassbender, like I said, and a bunch of other faces where you're like, I know them from something. What are they in? But yeah, it's got your usual, clues throughout the film. You probably got to watch it a second time. But it's another one of these kind of fits into what you said before with Wake Up Dead Man. It's like, it's popcorn. It's fun. It's just a really enjoyable movie. I'm glad it was made, but you're not going to be thinking about anything thought-provoking, I think, for weeks on weeks. But it's a good one, and it's on instant. Highly recommend. I've seen it twice now.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think if I have a criticism, it's that the heroes can't really do anything wrong. And even when it seems like they did something wrong, they planned it.
Mm-hmm.
And I find when I get to the end of that, when it's obvious that just, there's not going to be any mistakes made here, that I kind of am like, okay. But it is fun.
There's some stuff between Kate Blanchett and Pierce Brosnan's character towards the end that I'm like, is that realistic? This scene, would that have gone down? Would he not know
Right.
about some of these things? But
Yeah, I liked it. I think it's good. Good to talk about for sure. My number 6, I have Sentimental Value. Did that make
didn't
your
get
list?
to it. It's one of the ones
you
I didn't get
to.
to. I might get to it in
Okay.
the next few days.
All right. It is a Norwegian movie. It's Joachim Trier. It's by now certainly not obscure, even though gasp, most of it is not in English, as several of the ones we've talked about here have not been. You'll survive, read the subtitles. It's very entertaining. It's very meta. It's movie within a movie. Stellan Skarsgård is an aging director, having a harder time getting his movies made. It's funny, they show a scene from, I think, his Oscar in the world of the movie, his Oscar-winning movie inside the movie, and it's like looks awesome. It's like really like they put a lot of effort into it. It's a great scene from this movie that we're not actually watching. So he's putting together a big production. He gets Elle Fanning, not like Elle Fanning playing an actress, to star in it. They're going to do it in the house that he used to live with his ex-wife and daughters. The ex-wife has recently died, so the ownership of the house is somewhat under question. The daughters are very much estranged from him. He hasn't been around. He hasn't been in Norway. And so he's putting together the movie, and he's trying to convince the older daughter, who's an actress, to star in it. I know you like movies about movies, so do I. All those metafictional ways, like 8.5. Both of us, we love 8.5. The Player. I know how much you like The Player. Movies that are being made and we're watching. Even like, I think Babylon is Damien Chazelle movie is like kind of a bad movie, but the parts of that are good are the parts where they're making the movies. You know what I mean?
Do you watch Studio, the show with Seth Rogen?
I did watch it. I don't have many
I
good
know.
things to say about it, but I did watch
Well,
it. It's fine.
Again, I
It's
haven't
fine.
seen Sentimental Value, but it kind of touches on what you're saying, I think. But yeah.
So, I mean, this is still a more serious movie, though. Like, Nora's a really good character who's, like, genuinely messed up by her relationship with her father, and like, I believed it. I don't know. Again, endings. So much of this movie was, like, a great, like, perfectly written the whole way through, and the end, I don't want to say anything else. I didn't love the end. And it's probably that's going to come up a couple more times too. I don't know. It's a very enjoyable movie, but it's also serious, and it's about like the father who's trying to come back and like reclaim his daughters, and they're not having it in some ways. And Skarsgård he's nominated, and he's absolutely great.
I will just say, as far as endings, I remember I said this last year too, because I didn't love the ending of Substance, and I didn't love the ending of, and we talked about The Brutalist last 25 minutes, which I would say
Yeah.
is brutal, pun intended, and then Conclave even as well. I'm like, really? Like, there's
Yeah.
some parts of that where like, and happily ever after, and I'm like, I'm not sure that's exactly how this would have gone down in today's society, but okay, cool, and everyone can leave and they'll feel really good about themselves, but. Yeah, I think I didn't have as many problems, I think, this year with the endings of some of these films, but I get it.
Yeah.
I'll buy that. I will
Uh,
say maybe when we get to one battle after another, I will give you a tip to the hat on that. We could
okay.
talk about
Yeah.
that later.
Yeah. I mean, I just think the ending is cowardly, but whatever. Number 5 for you.
Yeah. So I just finished this an hour ago.
I know
So
what it is because I know what you just
yeah,
finished. Do you want to?
lead
Do
it.
you want to just save it because it's coming real quick for me?
Yeah.
And so don't even say it. Don't even say the title.
Okay. Okay.
And because obviously I know the movie you just crammed in here at the very end. Because the reason I'll say that is because we can do my number 5, which is No Other Choice, and you wanted to talk more about No Other Choice. So let's do that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't know that I think the ending is great or is the right ending for this movie. I don't want to ruin it for people, but like this is another version of the Eat the Rich movie. Would you agree with that? This is a
Yeah.
the poor people have it hard type movie, a Parasite type movie.
Yeah, I mean, Parasite, I enjoy more than this. I think it obviously touches on, what does kind of loyalty mean to a company, right? I think the setup of this film, and I know both of us will probably talk a little bit about it as we get this. The guy from Squid Game, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's terrific in this. But he works for this company and everything is amazing. He's got this gorgeous house. They send him this beautiful eel at the beginning, which he thinks is, oh, this is great. They love me. And of course, this is basically a parting gift before, capitalism and America takes over this plant and says, hey, have a good day. We're going to replace you with AI and some other stuff. Um, but yeah, and I know I touched on it before, but it's really kind of a dark comedy. I mean, just flat out a comedy, I think, that has kind of these sets as well and some stuff we'll talk about scene wise that I think are incredible. But you know, I think it talks a little bit about the pressures that, corporations and capitalism and some of these things, put us to. I think about it on a smaller scale too, Chris. I have so many chats with my buddies and they're like, yeah, you know what my company's making me do? And we go, that's horrible, man. You got to do that? Yeah. But we do it. We put up with it. I will give you credit because, you work for yourself and you don't probably have to deal with as much of that, you know, that someone like me, and I don't have it really bad at all. But some of the stuff I hear from my friends, it's just like, and you just kind of smile and go, uh-huh, until potentially you're replaced. But I think this deals with a lot of that. I will say, and then I'll stop talking and let you go since you had it higher. There were some unbelievable scenes in this. The one with the main character and the husband and the gun scene, where the three of them scramble for the gun is incredible. And
The
the
snake.
the snake bite scene is amazing.
That is
And I will just
the snake bite scene is the hardest I laughed out loud at any movie this year.
and I will just say, like, the stuff with his wife is amazing in this. The
Yeah,
actress,
she's
like, there's an
great.
incredible
Yeah.
scene where he meets up with her at that party. That dancing scene is just beautiful. Like, it's too bad that this is not released more in America and more people get an opportunity to see this film. You have to seek it out because it's the most unique film on probably our lists, period, and everyone should get to it. I
It's
know I
funny that
interrupted you a minute in, but
no, not at all. Not no no. It's great. It's great. I mean, it's so funny that something like Parasite, which I guess I think maybe I like this better. You were higher on Parasite than I was that
yeah.
year. I like Parasite though. It was in my top 10 for sure. It's a good movie, but it's funny. I mean, this is a Korean movie too, and it's funny that one broke contain, as it were. You know what I mean? And like got into the zeitgeist and got into like people, and so then you know just regular old Americans were like, sure, I'll check this out, and they just probably don't know about this. I think this is more accessible than Parasite. This is funny. It's, I mean, it's
I
dark.
don't know why more people have not seen it. I think if people
Well, heard
knew,
about it. Yeah, I don't think they.
yeah,
I mean, it's based on a like a pulp thriller, Donald Westlake movie book from the '90s. Like it's clearly written to be Korean. He took the general idea of killing the competition to get a job. That's the kind of
yep.
the setup. We're not ruining anything. It's and just we should just talk about a master, Park Chan-wook. Just I mean, he decided that he wanted to throw everything at a movie. You know what, kids? I'm however old he is. Like I think he's an older guy. He's in his 60s or whatever. Like I don't know how many more movies he's hopefully make many more movies, but you never know when you're going to get to make the next one. And so we're going to do everything. We're going to go Coen Brothers. We're going to go Hitchcock. We're going to go match cuts. We're going to have the camera like turn it upside down. We're going to go acrobatic camera editing that's crazy, dissolves that are like art. It's I think people who just like movies should see no other choice anyway, because it's just incredible looking, unbelievable. Like you said it's the best looking movie of the year.
Yeah, I'm probably partial to Decision to Leave, but I mean, like, Old Boy's great if you're into like revenge films, and Snowpiercer's good, and I've never even seen Stoker, which I probably should see. at some point, but like I just again a master. I This is a no-brainer film, I think, for anyone who enjoys movies, period, to just watch. It's like you said, it's hilarious. There's nothing else like it. I mean, we haven't even gotten to some of the stuff with his family and the whole gag of what he's doing in the backyard with the plants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
The only thing I'm just the hesitate again. The end. I think a 10th grader could have written it. I just don't like. What is your? I think it's confused. I don't. Yay, the machines run thing now. Like I don't know.
I think,
I don't get
yeah.
it.
I mean, I think it's a lot.
Is
Do
it
you
meant to be
find it?
cynical?
I
Is
think
it
it's
meant
supposed to be kind of ironic and cynical that he's kind of
Yeah.
come full circle to back to being,
Okay.
kind of
And
where he started, I think. But
I just don't think that this such a rich text deserves that easy of an ending, if you know what I mean. Like it's just
yeah,
so easy to go, remember when he was resisting at the beginning? Now he's embracing it.
yeah.
Oh, isn't that's so clever how you did that.
By the way, you are, I don't know. I think that's probably why you might like some of the films coming up a little bit more because I know two we haven't
Yes.
discussed yet, and that's
Better
you find that
endings.
yeah, and I think I'll get to what I think is the best ending of the year because I know both of us have it higher, so we'll talk
Yeah.
about it.
Let's do your so number 4 is gonna my number 4 is gonna be your number 5, but first let's do your number 4.
Um, I feel like my number four is going to be higher too. Is it was just an accident. So do you
Yeah,
want to
it's gonna be.
discuss my five and your four now?
Yeah. So it was just an accident. Is your 4? That is going to be higher on my list,
Yeah,
significantly higher.
I have
So
a
let's
hunch.
do your number 5, my number 4, the film that you crammed in right before we recorded this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's Sirat. I had texted you. We had picked the date to record this, and I said I'm down to. I haven't seen these two, and you was like, I think you should get them both in there. And I went, all right, and I did. It was just an accident a couple of nights ago, and I was like, whoa. And then you said, did you do Sirat yet? And I'm like, I'm doing it leading up to this podcast. And I got to about 40 minutes in, and
You
I erased
texted
my
me.
number 10, and I said, and there's a part midway through because you kept saying just wait, man. And I'm like,
Just wait.
so, Jord comes out as I'm watching the film, right? And she's like, this looks like something I'd be into. What is it? And I'm like, you might be, but I don't know yet. I said, it's really about a man and his son that arrive at a rave looking for their daughter. And that's it. And like,
In
you're just
Morocco.
kind of in
Yeah.
Morocco. Yeah, in Morocco. And I think I joked around with you on text and I said, I'll probably talk about it on the podcast, which was I joked around with my friends a couple of years ago and I said, I feel like I would be into Burning Man. And they texted back, they're like, are you out of your mind? They're like, you don't do any drugs. You're terrified. You're the most anxious person we know. And you're going to drive out into a desert where anything could happen. There's no rules. They're like, you think you'd enjoy that? Like, you would never even go close to Woodstock. And you think you'd enjoy this, man? What this movie does, and I texted you after on a voice memo and I said, I think this is the first movie, and I watch a ton of film where I'm like, I don't know what to compare this to. I said it's Mad Max meets Wages of Fear, who anyone who knows that 60s film about these people who kind of are hired to drive a tanker across like, an area and there's bombs and stuff. I said meets Burning Man. And this goes to so many different directions. The stakes are so high. I said, this checks off the Chris Harris stakes are high and anything can happen.
That's
And
for
what you
sure.
think this movie is about is completely something different. It's literally like Mad Max in real life. And yeah, this
I
cured
don't
me
want to
from
even.
ever.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't even want to say what it's about because I think people need to have the experience. I mean, you texted me. You said, um, "This feels new. This feels fresh. This feels like I don't know what could happen in the next 5 minutes." And that's the. I don't. I didn't get that like I knew nothing about this movie when I started it. I watched it like 2 months ago. It's the movie that I've thought the most about over the last 2 months. I think about it like every other day. It's bat bleep crazy. But you said it, first 40 minutes, you think you know what it is. Oh, okay, I'm going to be annoyed by this. It's Burning Man. Like, it's not really my scene.
Yep.
Um, like, I don't know. You said it. I don't want to say, like, the log line is a father and a son go searching for the missing daughter. Like it starts out a particular kind of weird, like, but it's exhausting. Like, oh, cool, people take LSD in the desert and dance at a rave, and I was ready to be like, I'm very annoyed by this. And Moy, you should just stick. All I can say is stick with it.
Yeah, and it's funny. That's why I texted you and I said I haven't placed it yet, and I think five is a good spot. But I get what you mean. I look at even the 10 of these movies, and I think in a week or two, what am I going to be thinking about? And the answer might be Sirat, right? It's haunting. The music in it is hypnotic because it has that deep house pulsating, but
Yeah,
like just
yeah.
the right volume where like again, it's not my scene. I know it's not your cup of tea, but I do love like look, I like learning about stuff that's not my scene. Like this is not something I'm ever going to embark on, right? Like, I
No,
joked around.
no,
As much as I
no.
thought that would be
I
something
mean,
for me,
is this movie even taking place in our timeline, like of current events?
I,
It
it's
feels like
otherworldly. Yeah.
a world war is breaking out, and people are like they're just soldiers driving around, and you're like, why?
Yeah,
It
which
is,
is important for the kind of the last part of the film because I
yeah,
think without that background of, this war and they mention to it, they're like, is this World War III?
yeah,
Or they allude to it. And I think
yeah.
that kind of that's an important aspect of what I'd say that last third of the movie is. But yeah, I mean, this
It's
is
it's something else. And it's
yeah, I know.
you texted me three different times as you were watching it, and I kept just texting
Just
back,
wait.
just wait.
Yeah, I texted a couple of my friends and I said, I'm watching a movie that is absolutely wild now, and I can't compare it to anything else. And I
Yeah,
watch, like I said, a large amount of movies, and the only thing I could say is Mad Max meets Wages of Fear meets Burning Man, and
yeah,
it's again, it takes
agree.
place in a world that I'm completely unfamiliar with, but seems completely realistic and dangerous and like something I've never seen before and just but also gorgeous. I said to you, Chris, this color palette is amazing. This
Yeah,
desert with his emerald green and the red that the woman is wearing, and it's just and it hooks you enough, and then we can stop with Sirat, but like it's like what you said. I'm like, okay, cool. Like this is gonna be one of these that we're at a concert and we can't. And then it's like, oh, this is kind of different. Oh, they met these people. Oh, wait, there you have another one of these like raves. A little bit. They're gonna check out. Oh, let's see where this goes. And it it dangles just enough where you're like you're watching him drive around. I'm like, I can't even. Is something gonna happen? Like, is he gonna go off a like? I'm watching this. I'm like, it's dangerous. It's dizzying. It's hypnotic. Again, I know we even haven't talked a ton about what it's about, but I don't want to spoil anything because you just
yeah,
got to watch it. That's it.
agree, agree, 100%. Let's leave it there. It's my number four. I could be my number one. I think my top four all could have been in any order, probably. I'm not sure I thought any of them were like instant classics, but
Yeah.
my top four I really, really like. What's your number three?
So we're gonna go back to it was just an accident, right? I don't think you watched this movie. My number three is 28 years later. Did you get to it?
I didn't. I didn't because I
I
know
know you're
it's
not.
not.
I
It's
know.
not a big
Look,
deal.
I know it's not for
Did you
you.
see Bone Temple?
I didn't see it yet.
You didn't
I
see
will
Bone
see it
Temple?
soon. Not
Okay.
yet.
Well, because I think I told you that Andy and I are doing a movie draft on the. We
Yeah.
do a movie every 2 months, and Bone Temple was my first round pick after he picked Wuthering Heights. So I'm gonna win. So I have a great affection for Bone Temple as because it got an 80 on Metacritic. But I certainly have heard like we're an hour in. It's the first time I'm name dropping Film Spotting, but I've listened to the Film Spotting year end review, and I listen to their shows all the time. And my understanding was that 28 years later was considered like a better movie than The Bone Temple.
Yeah. Again, I haven't seen Bone Temple yet. I am also a little bit more of a fan of this genre and horror and zombies. I do think zombies, of course, has been a little overblown. Like we have so many shows about it. Is Walking Dead, and I can't even think about the one that just was out with Pedro Pascal, The Infected. I can't even think about it based on the video game, but it'll come to me. I think this is a little bit different, and I think people are turned off. And I told so many of my friends when it came out, and I'm like, look, this is better than Weapons. This is better than Sinners. Like, I watch the movie, watch the movie. Oh, it's another zombie movie, and I think it's way more of a coming of age flick, and it's broken up, Chris, into like the movie begins and it's on an isolated island and it's your standard, they've isolated themselves from this infected and they're on the island. Then you have your own community that's built, and Aaron Taylor Johnson, I don't remember the characters' names, takes out his son on like his first hunt. It's one of these rites of passage, and it's a father son bonding. And you have your standard zombies. It's filmed really, really impressive, like the kill shots and stuff like that, which again, you don't really care too much about. The second part of the film is really kind of the son goes off on his own. I don't think I'm giving too much away to kind of search for a cure for his sick mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it to be really emotional. I'm not sure I would do that for my mom. There's a joke there. Um, but but it's a really emotional film. I think about exploration, about death. It's I don't know. It's not so much centered, Chris, around the zombies. And I think that unfortunately people are probably not going to get to it because they've seen so many and they saw the sequel to 28 Days Later. I love the original and they're like, oh, fast zombies. But there's so many good scenes. The Ralph Fiennes stuff in it at the end, the Bone Temple stuff, which again, I haven't seen the second one, but it's really, really well done. It's really emotional. The stuff with the child and his mom. Um, I would just tell everyone, like, please don't let being not into zombie movies deter you from this film. It has its gore stuff. Like, I'm not gonna sit here, Chris, and tell you that people are not getting their spines ripped out. They are. So like it's in there. But I think if you're willing to do and get through the zombie stuff, there's just some really, really good father son, mother son, son exploring the world, what's beyond, just this community that I was born in and I I really I don't know, I loved it. Like this is one of those that I've thought about like month here, month there. I'll probably revisit. I only saw it that first time going back when it first hit Netflix, but it's one that I definitely have to revisit. Maybe I'll force Jordan to watch it, even though she's an anti-zombie person too. But yeah, 28 years later for me, yeah, I just really enjoyed it.
Being an anti-zombie person, sort of that's biologically what we are. If we're pro-zombie, we become zombies, right? So we have to be anti-zombie in the world of the movie. Um, I it's funny you said the S word. You said Sinners, and I know
Yeah.
Sinners is not. I know the last two movies on your list, so I know Sinners is not there. Um, it's not there for me either, and in fact, it just misses my top 20 as of right now. Would Sinners be in your 11 through 20?
I haven't done it yet. I think it's gonna be close. You and I know both enjoyed the first half. I'm not like I just find the vampire portion of it to be not as special as other people, and maybe
Yeah.
if I put it on my top 20, we'll get to it. But like, yeah, this does not have that problem. I think this film actually gets better as the movie goes on. I think
That's
the
good.
the
Yeah.
last third again, it's incredibly emotional. Some of the Bone Temple stuff too, and um, questions of existence and death, which I think is a difficult subject matter for everyone.
Yep. Um, okay, my number three didn't make your list. I was disappointed you didn't like it as much as I did, but I appreciate you watching it. It's If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You.
Yep.
Um, I, I think if people are keeping track of awards shows, they probably know that Rose Byrne is getting attention.
Yep.
Um, she's, I think of her as sort of being a thankless actress. Probably she's
Mhm.
had other great roles, but I think of her as like Bridesmaids and X-Men, The Internship, Neighbors 2. And so then she suddenly gets this role. I think it's the best performance I saw all year. I even think we texted about it, and you said, I don't love the movie, but the performance is unbelievable, right?
Yeah. She's
Yeah,
unbelievable in it. I'm like,
yeah,
if you give her best actress, I'm completely fine. You give you the
yeah.
thumbs up, I'm completely cool with that.
She's incredible in the movie. It's harrowing, but it's so funny. I just found it so funny. And you shouldn't, because she's a mom of a very sick kid, and she's pulled in a million different directions, and she gets progressively more strung out and stressed out. She's also a therapist, and she doesn't do a very good job as a therapist, and she winds up in that motel with ASAP Rocky, who's great. Don't you think
He's
ASAP Rocky is
amazing.
great in this
He
movie?
he is amazing, ASAP Rocky in that. Yep.
Yeah, he's great.
Conan
And I
O'Brien is
think,
really good too as the other
yeah,
therapist.
it's so funny that you don't like this. I mean, you like it. It's just not.
I like
Is
it.
it would
Yeah.
11 through 20 type movie for you? Is that
Probably,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know you haven't done it. You haven't done the rank, but it's not your top 10. But you liked it. You know, she's falling apart in little ways and then in very big ways, and I think very often in funny ways. She probably has a little bit of the guy from the Mastermind in her too. In that, you know, why am I rooting for her? She's not a very good mother. You are sort of rooting for her. I think it's a brilliant directorial choice not to show her daughter, because she's just a voice off screen that is constantly just needs something because she's very sick. Um, you know that movie A Woman Under the Influence, that Cassavetes movie from the
Yep.
70s? You know
Mm-hmm.
that movie.
Yep.
I mean, I think everybody who does a review of this movie refers to that movie because it's a breakdown. You know, it's a similar kind of, you're watching it happen in slow motion. I think the movie knows exactly what it is, and I think the payoff scene on the beach at the end, I think it's a
Yeah.
great ending.
It is, and I will say it also there's a nice balance too of comedic relief. The liquor store girl is really good in that. Um, there's again, not to give too much away, the scene with Aesop Rocky, with the roof of you know, there's some really good scenes in it. And her performance is frantic. It's difficult to watch, but she's incredible in it. You also get a
Yeah.
fun cameo from when you do find out who her husband is, and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen him in a bit. It's good to see you.
I didn't recognize his voice at
I didn't
all. Yeah.
recognize it either. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's good. It's good to
Yeah.
see him again. Um, yeah, it was a good movie. It was good. I remember I watched it with Jord. We both agreed the performance was great. I think I don't know if it was. I, yeah, I liked it. It was fine. I
It's
just it
very
wasn't.
stressful. It's very
It was
stressful. And if you're
uncomfortable
not,
to watch. Yeah.
yeah, if you're not in the mood for something that's stressful, but like funny, I like it because I find the stress, like, I think mostly it's handled for comedy, you know?
Yeah.
It, and yet there are big stakes. Like yeah, I think it's a really very good movie. At various times I was like, this is my one. And then other times I was like, no, that's my four. But yeah, I like it a lot. The only question for me is the order. Do I know the order of your one and your two?
I think so. Are we
Okay.
doing? Yeah. I mean, I
Well,
think so. Yeah.
so your two then would be the same as my two, I believe.
Are we gonna do it with just an act? Oh, well, I don't want to spoil anything. I guess that tells me what I need to know.
It does.
Do you want to talk about both of our number twos?
Yeah. If
Yeah,
I think you know, I know what your one is. So the only movie I know that you liked that you have left is Sorry Baby, which is my
that's
number two
it.
movie of the year. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll a credit to you. You've been telling me to watch this for
For 3 months probably.
I was gonna say 5 months, and
Yeah.
it's been streaming on Max, and I think it was one where I'm like, I think I'm going to watch it with Jord, and then it got to a point where I was like, I only got a certain amount of days left, but I watched it last week, and I woke up and I said, I watched an excellent movie last night. You really should watch it, and I think she'll adore it. I think it'll probably be her one or her two on the year as well. Um, yeah, I don't. Again, it's on a lot of like critics lists too, but it's another one of these where I feel like I don't know why this movie is not talked more about, Chris, because it's accessible. It's not subtitled, which for some reason scares people in America away. They're like, "Yo, that Sirat movie is good." I'm like, "Yeah, it's in Spanish," and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm out, man." But like, this is this is an easy watch. Well, I shouldn't say it's an easy watch. Sorry, it's accessible, and the plot is something that you feel like more people would gravitate to. You know, I won't give away what this traumatic event is, but it's basically about a woman who's a post grad or recently become a professor, I guess at her grad school, and I don't think this is giving too much away, and the narrative goes back and forth, who's dealing with a traumatic event, and it basically talks about the aftermath and the process of her recovery and, the reality of what it is to deal with a bad event that stays with you. And I
I
don't
think
think you have.
you can say it's sexual assault. Like
Okay.
it's fine. I think we can go. That's as far as we'll go. It's a
Yeah.
person. It's the person that she's working for in grad
Yeah.
school. It's the professor that she's under,
Yeah.
and it's sexual assault. I mean, it's the funniest movie of the year is the one about sexual assault.
I was about to say what's so impressive about this film is the subject matter is really difficult too. But the balance they have and the comic relief and the scenes, like I'm shocked they didn't wake Jordan up with the doctor scene too. There's an amazing scene where she goes, after the assault with her close friend Liddy, and she meets with the doctors, and then the school talks to her too, after he leaves, and like, well, he's technically not an employee anymore, so there's not much we can do, and you're just like, it is hilarious, this movie, and she plays some of these scenes deadpan. You have the jealous student who's incredible in this, the blonde-haired girl, who's like, she got this position. Like, it's really, really, like, I don't know, it has every single emotion, um, the coping mechanisms that we have, and I don't know, like all of us, I think, I'm not going to say can relate to sexual assault, but we've all had traumatic events that shaped us and how we all live with them. They don't ever go away, but how you get through life with them. And, she obviously copes some of this with comedy as well, and which is something near and dear to my heart, a little self-deprecating humor for me. I've made many jokes about my life and my mom and some other stuff that I've dealt with, but no, it's yeah, just a really well balanced, brilliant film that deals with difficult subject matter that's really relatable to everyone. And it's not one of these 2.5 hour movies. It's an hour and 40. The supporting characters are amazing. The neighbors that helps her cope with it. It's it's just realistic.
Yeah.
I know I'll let you talk too, because you're the one who got me onto this, and it's terrific.
Yeah, it's funny the way you have to talk around the film and about the film in where you're trying not to spoil things makes it sound almost insufferable. Like if I were an audience member who never knew this movie existed and heard us talk the last 5 minutes about this movie, I would be like, a quirky movie about rape, cool. Like that sounds horrible. But it's kind of a quirky movie about
There's a tenderness though about it too. Like
for whatever reason the writing is great, the acting is perfect, it's handled with exactly, you said it perfectly, with the right touch for us to understand that this, I mean, it's is it like you said, for if I had legs I'd kick you, this is a tough
Yeah.
watch, and I think I probably agree. Is this one a tough watch in the same way? I kind of think it's not.
No,
But I kind
I
of don't
think
know
there's
why.
no.
Yeah.
I think look. There's one or two scenes too. Like when I would say it's brilliantly shot. The actual scene where this stuff goes
Right.
down,
That's
and
a
it's
great
just
choice. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's such a smart choice, and they just kind of have that house, and then there's that kind of almost like you have the shot of her kind of walking out in her car, and it just follows her home, and it's brilliant. But that's
Yeah.
probably the only part where I'm like, whoa,
I mean,
this is
we
heavy.
should feel like
Yeah.
it's heavy all the way through, because the character obviously in the present of the movie feels like it's heavy, and there's something in the way, as they say, and it's a light touch on a subject matter that we've obviously and rightly so seen be given a very heavy touch, because a certain subject matter needed it. But this particular character, I think it served the story really well, because she's not all that in touch with her emotions anyway, and she's clearly PTSD, and she's very, very smart and funny, and so she kind of deals with it in that way. And I still feel like the way I'm describing it makes it sound insufferable, but you're just gonna have to trust us that it's very much not. That, like, partly that's just how she is. Like, partly the way she is just an emotionally distant, sarcastic person. And And so like that's funny. Like it's hard to I'm sorry, it's just funny. Like she's always going to be the quirky one. And then this happens, and so now you want to, it's a very delicate line to walk of like the quirk in a movie about something that's very serious. But I'm so with you in that. Whereas if I had legs, I'd kick you. You got to be ready. It's funny, but you got to be ready because she detonates. Rose Byrne's character self-destructs, and you got to be ready to watch it, and it never flinches. I love that about it. That's not this movie at all. This movie is like the aftermath of something that's very, that's handled in a really gentle way, and then that ending, where the title of the movie comes from, like I cried. Like it's just, it's not played for big giant catharsis, but she's finally having a real conversation about it a little bit, and like the emotional cows are coming home to roost or whatever. I thought another ending that was just perfect.
Yeah, really good. There's one better ending. I'm curious. I know you're number one because it's my four. I found that ending to be better.
It's
Would
a
you
great. That's
agree?
it's why it's my one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's my one. All right, so we're at our number ones. I think it's so crazy that after all that, I'm so not crazy. I'm so pleased that after I really did a lot of arm twisting
I will
to get you
say-
to watch.
You know what, Chris?
Because I think subject matter wise, you were just turned off. You didn't want to hear about it. You were like, I don't want to see this movie. And I think I think that's instructive. That subject matter wise, you were like, am I going to feel bad? Is it going to be shaming me for being a guy? Is it, and the fact that it's your number 2 movie of the year, like makes me feel really good that it goes way beyond that.
In the course of a week, I listened to you and got my 2, my 4, and my 5. Now, I will say,
Look at that.
I would have eventually gotten to 4 or 5. I don't know if I would have eventually got to Sorry Baby. And like, I read what it was about, and it was on list, and I'm like, oh, at some point I'll get to it. It's on Max, but like, you really
Yeah.
peer pressured
It's
me to a
special.
degree, and you're
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
special.
you really need to watch it. And
Yeah.
again, hats off to you.
Never got you to watch Tar though.
And I still haven't seen Tar. It's by the way, I'm showering the other day and I'm like, I wonder if Chris will bring this up because I'm like, usually I get to all the ones he has high on his list, and I'm like, I wonder if he's gonna remember that I still haven't seen Tar.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a good movie, man. You should really see it. It's still my number. It's my number 1 that year. It's
The next time
if
I
you
fly
trust
somewhere,
me-
I'm just gonna watch it.
Yeah, if you trust me on Sorry Baby, that like, oh, another Me Too movie. Trust me when I tell you that's not what it is. I know that's why you were reluctant for the same reason. Like subject matter feels like. Let's face it, it's not that you're insensitive to the idea of the subject, but it's well trod upon ground. You feel like I've seen this subject matter done 100 times before. I don't need to see it again. It's just going to be a bring down, and I think in both cases, I think you'll find the same thing with Tar. But we really recommend Sorry Baby for sure. All right, your number 1, the best picture of 2025.
By the way, Chris, I'm not alone in this. Come on.
No,
Like,
you're
this
not. But it's actually the 8th best picture. But you can call it the number 1.
And it's like, look up. We could just start talking about one battle after another. I watched it with Jord. Both of us thought it was great. Do I think it's in the same league as what's his? There'll Be Blood. No, Magnolia, Boogie Nights. But I think it's probably. And I'd really have to list this out. I think we did an exercise at the time, and I got to go back. And my friends and I said, if you ranked all the Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson movies, where would you have this? And again, completely different exercise. But I had it. I don't remember. It was 8 or 9. Like I really did enjoy this. I still haven't seen it a second time, and shame on me because there's just so many movies that it's tough to revisit them. So yes, one battle after another. We could discuss it. I don't think we have to go too much into what the plot is about because most people know, DiCaprio and Teyana Taylor, I guess, play, parts of a resistance group, the French 75, who begin the film and blow up a detention center, and we're off, right? And I think the first part of that film is about the resistance, right? And I don't think you probably had too much of an issue with the first part. Again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I have read what you wrote about it. And I think your issue with this movie is probably not so much mine, which is there's there's so many genres in within this, right? And I know that you and I both are fans of How to Blow Up a Pipeline, which I'd probably have to watch them both back to back again. I know that you probably prefer that because I've read what you wrote about it.
Hmm.
I just really enjoyed this film, Chris, because I think it does touch on a ton of genres. Like, I think you got The Searchers in there, right? I think you got, there's a father daughter element to this movie too, which I think is a ton of this too, and what we leave for our children and that whole aspect of it. I think the Sean Penn stuff, which you probably sit here and we'll get to the ending later, I know, and you're like, dude, this is like, sure, I get there's satire,
Looney
but like,
Tunes.
this is
Looney
overboard
Tunes.
in Looney Tunes, especially. I will agree, this I will give you. The last 10 to 12 minutes of the movie is completely unneeded and probably for me stops it for being a complete masterpiece. But like, I love the parts of this film, probably the second act more, where at this point, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say spoilers because we're gonna have to say stuff. Once,
Yeah,
t-
I think it.
yeah,
I think we're doing kind of a spoiler review. If you haven't seen one battle after another, just fast forward 10 minutes or something because we
yeah,
are just gonna go ahead.
yeah. Like once Tiana Taylor gets arrested, I really do like the fast forward. Like I love the DiCaprio stoner, right? The protective over his daughter who really hasn't seen the outside world, but he's trying to keep her safe. I really love that stuff. I love the gags where, he's calling that other resistance part and the Benicio del Toro part and the chase scenes. It's got action and there's so much of this genre in here. And then kind of the end becomes, it's got French Connection and Bullet. And I've never seen PTA do action scenes like this. And like there's so much of this movie. Now, I love that. I love the characters. I get what you're saying. The Sean Penn stuff becomes Looney Tunes, right? He's this guy who's tracking him down, and specifically the end scene, right, where it should end with DiCaprio and his daughter after that dizzying back and forth, which I just think is a masterpiece of filmmaking, the action. The last portion with the Christmas Adventures Club is not needed.
Hmm.
Sean Penn at that point shouldn't exist. I also understand, and I'll let you go in a minute or two about, people's decisions in this. One of I don't know if he's a bounty hunter, that Sean Penn hires, all of a sudden he grows a conscience, right?
Right when he
I
drops
look
her
at,
off, that
yeah,
exact moment, like, oh, I can't do this. Like the movie would have been very different, but the movie can't. The movie doesn't want you to think these characters can get hurt.
yeah. I think I'm not so much bothered, I guess, by the commentary, and you talked about at the beginning of this podcast of society now, right? And this movie probably even rings more true now about, people against government with some of the stuff with ICE and some of the other things going on now. And this probably is more relevant than ever and will probably win Best Picture, especially because of it. I'm not bothered as much by it. Like I put it aside and I go, it has everything. It touches on every genre. I love the performances, Chris. I think the daughter's amazing, and I think Sean Penn is great. I think he,
Ugh, Sean Penn
I
is
know
not
you,
great.
you
He's
find it
not
to
great.
be just the name itself. You find to be like, dude, no one would be named that, right? It's just so
Well, it's from
hit you
it's
over
from
the.
Pinch. It's from
I know
Pinchon. I
it's
mean,
from
I
the
read the
from
I
the
read
book,
the
which
I
I
read
didn't
the
read.
book. Um, I mean, you're saying put aside the political moment, and I'm my contention. So I will link to. I don't know if that piece that I wrote is public or not. I have to figure it out. If it's public, I will link to the piece that I wrote for Luke O'Neill for Welcome to Hell World. I wrote a review of One Battle After Another right when it came out. I saw it twice. Because everybody should know listening, like we love PTA. Josh and I, he's our favorite director. There's no argument. Josh and I, he's our guy. We love him. We have high expectations for him, but we love him. And Phantom Thread in whatever 2017 was my number one movie that year. Licorice Pizza, not so much.
Not a fan.
But yeah, but I'm gonna contend that in fact, I understand that you're saying your assessment of it really doesn't involve its appropriateness for the moment. which that's your perception. You like it because you're not worried about that. I'm going to make the argument that actually the reason why most people like it is because of the moment.
The commentary.
I mean, there's a quote that Jason England wrote that I quoted in my own piece that he wrote for this Defector. He said, quote, "Any vaguely liberal message is seen as profound and worth celebrating. This sort of art is an extension of our incoherence and desperation sold back to us as its cure. We validate it to reassure ourselves." In other words, wow, if somebody's out there making a big budget movie in which all the right-wing people are totally idiots, I can thank goodness those people are out there making that movie, and I can feel like I'm a little safer that there are artists out there taking care of us and reflecting it and all that. And I'll just say that the commentary when this movie came out was so all over the place. Different people who we would think of as being smart came away with really different interpretations of what this filmmaker's trying to say with this movie. What do you think he's trying to say, Josh?
I think it's a commentary. Well, people will reach for it and say it's a commentary on the current state of our government, right? And DiCaprio,
what do you think PTA is trying to say?
I don't know. I feel like this
I don't have a gotcha here. I'm genuinely asking.
This is your point where you go, I don't think there's a ton that he's trying to say here. And that's probably your commentary at the movie. And you don't think that there is a defining moment where you're like...
Well, I think he's trying to say something. I'm just confused. Like, I think some people say, devastating satire of Trump's America. The Christmas Adventurers Club are so bumbling and so stupid. And Sean Penn is so caricaturishly evil. And who's the guy from Minnesota, Bovino, who got... he's the Sean Penn character, and oh my God, how could PTA have never known that? So it's like some people see that. Other people say...
I've heard the Epstein analogies already too. It's
yeah. And then other people say, oh, devastating satire of the left and their inability to organize something coherent, and this revolution is empty. You got other people saying this is satirizing the very idea of revolution. There is no such possibility. You got, people, Fox News is telling people it's giving permission for left violence. And there's so much that's good in this movie. It's my number 8 movie of the year. There's so much that's good in this movie. I don't want this to turn into a conversation of why Josh is wrong. I just am trying to communicate my reservations, but they are mine, and other people might not share them, and that's completely fine. And I hope we can part as great friends. But I don't understand what the movie exactly stands for. Did you watch The Lowdown? It was that Ethan Hawke TV show that was last year.
I started it. I got about 3 episodes in. I haven't finished it.
Okay.
It's got Lebowski elements to it.
It's got Lebowski. It's got Coen-y elements to it. It's pretty good. I wouldn't say... I think One Battle After Another is better than The Lowdown. Like, I'm not trying to... There's one part of it that... So it has a right-wing / religious / racist conspiracy in it that is actually menacing and scary. And there are points in it and where I'm like, something really bad might happen here. I believe it. And the way this movie is built is such that I don't really ever think that's possible in this movie. These people are totally clownish and ineffectual, and painting your quote unquote enemy or the bad people controlling the strings as being that feckless. I'm not saying it's dangerous. I'm just saying there's a temptation to say, well, look at who's running the government. Look at who's running Silicon Valley. Look at the Epstein emails and how they can't spell. And there's a tendency to go, no, they are. It's all, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain, and they're all absolutely 80 IQ morons. They're not, Josh. Like, we have to accept it. We would love it to be true. They're not. And the people doing bad things, I think it's just too easy to go, they're clowns. So much of this movie felt like an SNL skit to me. Like when Sean Penn goes and sees the Christmas Adventurers Club and one of them's in a wheelchair and can't talk, and I think that's not the end of the movie. That's the middle of the movie, and I just think it's like I thought I was watching an SNL skit.
It doesn't bother me as much, I guess, to
Yeah,
kind
I
of
know, obviously.
satire that part of the government. And like, I look at that and I kind of, you know,
But what the tonally, you got Leo falling into the tree, right? And that's supposed to be silly, right?
see, I don't
there's
mind the silliness of that. And I don't mind the dojo scene stuff with Benicio del Toro. Like, I watch that and I
I
find
love
it,
that. I love
yeah,
the dojo scene. I love it,
yeah, like
and I
that
get
stuff
it.
is amazing.
Like I get it. That just the notion of like an underground railroad that actually exists and is saving, quote unquote illegals. That's those scenes are great. It's breathtaking. That's like 25-minute scene or something. It's unreal. It's so good. It's incredible. I don't understand how it fits with the Christmas Adventurers Club, or the bounty hunter who changes his mind, or the Sean Penn, getting his face blown off and surviving, like he was Popeye the Sailor Man with a exploding cigar. There's just too much in it that I don't know. I think well-meaning people want this movie to say something, so
Yeah,
they kind
and
of
I
decide
don't
that
and
it
I
says
don't love
something.
it like and I'm not the type of person who is going to love this movie because it says something specifically political or touches on social issues where I'm like, "Oh my God, like they hit it perfect about the oppression that we're dealing with." And it's like he
Yeah,
totally gets it and it's an
yeah.
exact like the commentary while it's humorous is exactly spot on. Like for me, that's not why I guess I love this film. I just find it to be so impressive from like a genre's perspective and kind of like the two, three acts of this where I'm like, it's nothing like he's done before. I find the performance is great. Sure, I think it's got some commentary on,
I
contemporary
mean, it does.
America.
Of course,
Yeah.
you
But
can't get
like,
away from it. He's a white guy married to a black lady. He's got mixed race
yeah,
kids. It's clearly a
yeah,
personal story for him.
yeah,
Yeah,
and again, I love the father daughter stuff. Again, you and I don't have children, and it probably would hit even harder to, if if I was in a biracial family with a daughter who, I'm kind of letting out into the world, and that kind of second part, and he's, hey, keep this transmitter on you so I could find you. Like, I'm sure that's probably something that a lot of, girl dads, so to speak, have had to deal with. And I just think they tackle a lot of these issues really well. I'm not so much bothered by the Looney Tunes version of Sean Penn and stuff. Like you probably are even bothered by the scene where he kind of tests her to see the DNA and stuff like that. Like, are you fine with that portion?
it's
Really? Or are you
okay.
just like,
I mean,
okay.
this is not a movie that I hate at all. It's number
I know you
8.
like it.
Like
It's on your top 10, and I
yeah,
know you're not the type of
yeah.
person who's like, well, I got to stick one battle after another on here because,
No,
like,
yeah,
if not,
no.
like if you thought
I
this was
look
below
bad.
average,
Yeah,
I don't like Licorice Pizza. I will say it. I think it's a below average movie. We talk
yeah,
about it in my home chat all the time because my
yeah.
buddy Danny likes it, and me and my friend Bop are like, it's a bad movie. Like, stop already. It's not good.
Well, and I'm not telling anybody who's listening right now who loved One Battle for Another to stop already. I'm just trying to explain where my reservations come from, even as a genre. Like if I take away, you can't take. This is they're called the French whatever. They're
French 75, yeah.
it's revolution. Like it's it's clearly meant to be a political movie. But even if you kind of like, let's not look at it through that lens. Let's look at it through the lens of genre. Movies that have caricaturish evil entities just don't interest me as much. If there was actual dread and nuance, do you think for 1 second the daughter was ever going to be actually in trouble in this movie? I just didn't believe it.
No, because that's the Hollywood portion of this where I'm like,
Yeah.
look, I know how this chase scene is probably going to end.
Well, it was such a
That doesn't
wimp move to have the script have the bounty hunter drop her off, and she's on her way to Mexico to be done away with, and then he changes his mind. And not only does he change his mind, but then he gets killed in a shootout, so now she gets to just be free and
look.
take the car.
There's two things, and I read what you wrote about it, where I'm like, look, these are valid points, and I mentioned it before, which is the bounty hunter portion, and the film should end post
Yeah,
chase scene, and
chase.
that
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
the end of
The
it. Like,
hills. Yeah,
yeah, and like that would have been great. The reconciliation of he and the daughter and the coming together, like boom, and the movie done. The that final portion is just like, is that really needed? Like we
Yeah.
got him. Like he was already should not be part of the film anymore. He should be dead.
Agreed.
So it's like it's
Agreed.
not needed to do that.
No.
I don't
No.
know.
I mean,
It's a zero value add.
this is the ending problem that I think some of the films of the year had. And you're right. I really, really tried to reward on my list. I rewarded the ones that understood what movie they were making and found a way to say the ending. Like, say what you want about Sirat, and we're not going to say what that ending is, because my God, but it earned it.
Yeah.
Like it figured out what it was as a movie, and it was bat bleep crazy, but like it earned that ending. And I feel like if I had legs, I'd kick you. That beach scene, I think it really earned it. I think Sorry Baby, the last scene where the title of the movie becomes relevant, really earned it. And then so anyway,
I was gonna say, you want to get to your one?
yeah, I never want to. I don't want you to come away, or anybody listening to come away feeling like. And I knew I had to give kind of the ballast, the other side of the one battle after another, because it is going to sweep everything, and some of it is going to be because it's a very well made movie with a lot of good performances, and some of it's going to be because it's a lot of people who are rich in Hollywood and want to seem like they're supporting the right things and patting themselves on the back. And I don't really, in the long term, I don't think people are going to think this is one of his best movies. I think if you watch it again, you're not going to think it's one of his best movies, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But yes, let's get to my number one, which is your number four. You obviously liked it very much too. And man, I agree with you. This has the best ending of any movie all year.
Yeah.
It was just an accident. I've talked a lot. Why don't you set this one up?
Yeah. It was just an accident. You told me to watch this the other day, and I didn't know a ton about it. And um, I guess the easiest way to describe it is it's about a mechanic, or I should say, a mechanic kind of bumps into someone who he thinks could be his torturer when he was a prisoner. It takes place in Iran. And I guess is this another one we kind of have to talk a little bit about, like spoil
I
some
think
stuff?
I think you did a great job just now. I don't. I mean, a little. So this is Jafar Panahi. He's a legendary Iranian filmmaker. I think this is my favorite movie. I haven't seen all of his movies. I've seen several of them. This Is Not a Film is great. You've seen that one.
Yep, I've seen
Yeah.
that. I'm looking at his
Yeah.
movies as we speak now.
It is. You're right. It's like a high concept idea. Like a family has car trouble. They pull over. They go to a garage. The guy in the garage thinks he recognizes the guy in the car, and he's going to take him hostage because he doesn't know what to do, because he thinks he's the one who
Yeah.
tormented him in an Iranian jail. And so he goes and he gathers up other people who were also tortured by the same
Prisoners,
person.
yeah.
And I don't think we need to probably spoil anything beyond that, but like that's the setup, that you're going to get that in the first 10 minutes. So we're not really, and that's pretty high concept if you think about it, because, as you can imagine, this becomes about a question of mercy and also a little Rashomon part, like what really happened. Is it really him? How can we be sure if it's the guy, like, and do you want to allow yourself to be as bad as he was to you? Do you give up enough of your soul? Like, you can imagine all of this stuff, and it's seeming like really, really, really heavy. Another one, Josh, it's a very funny movie.
Yeah, there's a ton of comedy in it. Not so much probably the last 25 minutes, but like you said, some of the characters they pick up along the way, um,
Really funny.
because again, they're trying to identify this person, and it seems like from meeting each one of these characters, many of them were blindfolded, right? So it's does this guy smell? Is there's a feel, a scent, his voice, and you can tell that a lot of these people have been in tremendous pain, and like they don't give a ton of the details. I mean, the bride kind of talks through, when she was getting ready to be hung, which is a really rough scene to listen to. But it's definitely got a ton of comedic moments too, especially like when he goes to the hospital too. There's some funny stuff in there too with the credit card and some other things there and that go down.
Buying the
But like,
cakes. Yeah.
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 But man, deeply personal film too. Really, really original. The last 25 minutes where, and I won't spoil anything, I'll say when they kind of finally decide what they are going to do with this potential, you know, person who ruined their life, as they say, is really an incredible scene. Like, it's at nighttime, they have him tied to a tree. I won't give any more away, but that into the kind of the ambiguous ending, which I think
Yeah,
is just
it's unbelievable.
it's
Yeah, it's so
beautifully
good.
shot. And like you're waiting, you're like, what is going to happen? What is going to happen with this guy, right? And it's shot so well with his mother's there, and you can kind of see some stuff happen in the background, and then it's
The
just the
sound.
sound,
You get a
which is
sound.
just
We can't say
which is
what
like,
sound. Yeah.
yeah, and you're just like, whoa. And
It's
I again, you and I have, fortunately never had to deal with anything like this, but I think
no.
that the idea of how do you confront, your captors or people who have lived through this situation, and how would you deal with this? Again, not so much. I guess it's got Sorry Baby kind of touches on this type of stuff too, and like how you deal with these things that affect your entire life and how you deal with the aftermath. And there is the element of revenge and how you seek that out and what would you do. But man, like again, there's some parts that are chilling. There's some parts that are funny. It's a deeply emotional movie too. It's the best ending of the year. It's beautifully directed too. The characters are terrific, and the way that they kind of tell you their backstory, it's just you feel like you've known them for more than this hour and 40 minutes. It's really well done, man. Like I was curious because you did not tell me how much you liked it, and I watched it, and I'm like, this is easily a top five for me. And I'm
Yeah.
really curious, is this gonna be like eight for Chris? Is it two? And I knew it would be high. You gave a little bit of a tell when I said Sirat or It Was Just an Accident. You're like, get to them both, but I prioritize It Was Just an Accident. I'm like, all right, so I kind of know he's got this higher. Um, but like, no, I knew after watching this, I'm like, oh, he's gonna have this high. Like he's not a fool. It's really, really good. Again, unfortunately, this is one I don't think enough people will see. And it won the Palme d'Or, right? Yeah, it did.
It did. It
It
won the
won
Palme
it at
d'Or.
Cannes. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know why more people don't see these movies. And I know I mean, I do know why. It's because they go, oh, it's Iranian. I'm not going to see this. Oh, if this one's
Right.
in Spanish, I'm not going to
Well,
see it.
that said, I think the people listening to this show are a lot more open
Yeah, my
to
friends are not.
to trying stuff. Well, okay, but I think a lot of the people listening are open to say, sure, like I'll give it a shot. And I think anybody who gives this a shot will really like it. It's very high concept. It's easy to follow. It's what would you do kind of situation, and it has a really really good ending. It's nominated for best
It
uh,
is.
international. Yeah,
It is. Yeah.
yeah. And so like if it wins, it's going to get that much more publicity as well. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think I may have said this earlier in the show. My first four, uh, I really could have had it in any order. I didn't feel strongly that It Was Just an Accident is like way better than Sorry Baby or If I Had Legs or Sirat. Those were going to be my first four, and I honestly think it came down to they're the four that where I liked the whole movie and the end. I was like, okay, cool. You knew what your movie was about, and you wrote an ending that figured it out. I don't need resolution. I don't need like. There's no right formula for an end of a movie. The right end for your movie depends on your movie. These four figured it out, and for sure, I think that's the best one. It Was Just an Accident. I think if we were going to just turn it to the question of like what kind of year 2025 was, I would say I liked Honora, which was my number one last year. I liked it more. That would have been my number one again this year, and probably by it a little bit. But I think maybe this was a deeper year. Like maybe my number 10 from this year would have been better than my 10 from last year. Does that make sense?
It does. As you're talking, I'm bringing mine up, and like I had Red Rooms one, Nora two. Um, it's funny because I look at this and I'm like, Red Rooms, Nora, Real Pain. Like I like Strange Darling. Like maybe I like this year more, and it's
Okay.
probably just because of the last week. And
Yeah,
like I
you've had a
think
good
these,
week.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had a good week. I watched three really good films.
Yeah.
That, yeah, it's
Last
interesting
year
too. I look
had
at it. Yeah.
last year had La Chimera. Did you ever wind up seeing it? That's a Josh
Yeah,
O'Connor
I
movie.
had a nine. I
Yeah.
had a nine.
Okay. And then A Real Pain was really good. Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World, which was the Romanian one that I know you might have even had it higher than I did.
I had
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, maybe not then. Listen, I mean, at some point, ranking art is stupid. Like, it's fun as an organizing principle, but when it gets down to it, fortunately, our lives have enough free time that we can see all these movies at some point. So it doesn't. Who cares which was 6 and which was 8? All that stuff. But it's funny. I looked back at some of our top 10 lists from 10 years ago, and it was clear that the field was deeper because there were more good American movies. Like, there just aren't nearly as many good American movies anymore. A lot of them are made for streaming, and they're made to be second screened. You know what I mean? We wind up. I mean, 2018. Burning. What a movie Burning is, right?
Yep.
I mean, unbelievable. That's South Korean, but like First Reformed, Roma's really good. The Favorite, the Lanthimos movie. You loved Isle of Dogs. You loved Bad Times at the El Royale. These feel like movies that don't, Black Klansman came out that year. It just felt like a much deeper field, whatever that was, 8 years ago or something. But I don't know. It is what it is. We're lucky that we get the number of international movies that we still get because obviously we have a lot of non-English language films in this list.
Yeah. I'd say I'm looking at my last few lists, and I'd say usually like 40% of them are not English. Like I'm looking, this was a good year. I mean, I liked Oppenheimer more than you, but that was Oppenheimer, How to Blow Up a Pipeline, Anatomy of a Fall, Zone of Interest. Like that was a good year. I liked Rye Lane. Again, but then I get to the bottom and I'm like, You Hurt My Feelings, Holdovers.
Yeah, Nouvelle Vague is better than those.
Yeah.
Like I would enjoy watching Nouvelle Vague again. And if that's my 10 and you're 8, I mean, your list, the 10 movies, 5 of them are not English speaking this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it says something. We're open to anything. And I feel bad that we're the two people who say we don't like Sinners. I mean, it's fine. I'm not saying it's bad, but like, I want Sinners to be awesome because it's a big American non-franchise blockbuster that made so much money and gave Ryan Coogler, unlimited license to do whatever he wants. That's awesome. I just wish I liked the movie more.
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and go, everyone loves it, so I guess I'll put it as my number 9 too. I didn't love it.
Yeah. I'm counting here. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, also 5. We both had 5, international language films out of our 10s. And of course, they are listed in our show notes, and we've done it. It is a marathon show every year when we do this, but we hope you enjoy it. I get asked by quite literally hundreds of people, hey, where's the movie episode? And here it is. However, we do suggest that maybe you consider creating a Yacht Club membership because we think it would be a nice way to support the show. It's $5 a month, and you'll get in a couple of weeks, maybe like 2 weeks or something. We'll do our 11 through 20. We'll probably have some overlap where, a movie that Josh mentioned here and I already responded to, I will have 11 through 20 or vice versa. But definitely there's going to be new titles that we have not mentioned. In fact, I don't have a perfect set yet. I'm not even sure Sinners isn't in it, but I got 2, 4, only one of the movies that you've mentioned are currently in my 11 through 20. That was Black Bag. So there's lots and lots of new titles would come out in 11 through 20. So if you'd like to subscribe, we'd love to have you. You can check it out at harrisfootball.com. Josh, do you want to say anything else about the show, the movies, the year, anything?
No, I think it was, if you'd have asked me a week or two ago, I would have, it was a very average year. Like I said, I think Sirat, it was just an accident, and Sorry Baby really made it a solid year for me. I think probably the next group of movies will probably have some more fun titles in there. Just kind of looking at my group, I got some comedies in there because
I
people.
do too, yeah.
I actually my 10 until today was a comedy, so it'll probably be my 11 when we start.
the one I was going back and forth with Nouvelle Vague and this other movie, also a comedy. So it might be my 11, yeah. Might be. All right, well, we'll get to that when we get to it. We appreciate you so much for listening, and we will talk to you next time we talk to you. Bye-bye.
The Juggernaut is produced by Dave Piper. The Juggernaut's opening and closing themes are from Quiet Company. Please discover more about Quiet Company at quietcompanymusic.com. Subscribe to The Juggernaut however you get podcasts, and you'll never miss an episode.
Call it what you want, said I go